Good morning and welcome to another FasTrax webinar. This is a weekly event we do every Friday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we go over various topics of the FasTrax software. You can see a list of these events if you go to our website, goftx.com, choose the FTx Lifeline link toward the top of the page, scroll down just a bit and look for that webinar hyperlink. Choose that, and that will show you a list of all of our webinars. From this page, you can sign up for the newsletter to be notified of upcoming webinars and other FasTrax news by choosing that hyperlink. You can search for webinars, and you can view all of our previously done webinars by choosing the view recording. Today we're going to be going over a topic for the Cloud POS. In the Control Center is going to be the Global POS Settings. Now, one of the differences in the on-premise POS and the Cloud POS is that the Cloud POS, you can set your point of sale settings in the Control Center, and whenever you're setting up a store, whether it be installing a new POS, a replacement machine, whatever the case may be, your point of sale is automatically going to download all of those settings from the cloud. That way you don't have to remember setting those settings in place. So I'm going to navigate to controlcenter.fasttraxpos.com. That's the URL to get to the Control Center. I've already logged in. From the login screen, this main page in the Control Center, I'm going to choose the point of sale option here. That'll open up another menu. I'm going to choose the maintenance module, and I'm going to choose the settings and panels module. This will open up all of the settings that can be done for Control Center as well as POS. Today we're going to be focusing on the point of sale side, so I'm going to choose the POS hyperlink. And then I'm going to choose the POS Device Global Settings hyperlink. This will be the settings that are specific to the point of sale itself. Now, first and foremost, when it comes to peripherals, as in like your barcode scanner, receipt printer, customer-facing display, scale, whatever hardware accessory you have with the point of sale, those are still set up specifically on the POS application itself, simply because those are tied to that unique machine. That's not a universal setting. Peripherals can vary across stores. So first, we're going to look at the register settings. After that, we're going to look at the receipt settings. So this first area will be your safe drop settings. This block here will have to do with your safe drops. You have a min and drawer, max and drawer, prompt interval, and max safe drop skips. Now the min and drawer, that's going to be essentially what you want your starting till to be. You don't want to drop below that value in the cash drawer during a safe drop. So let's say that my safe drop minimum value, I want it to be $125. That means that anytime I have a safe drop, it's going to drop to that minimum in drawer. This will generally always equal your starting till amount. Max in drawer, let's say that I put $250 in here. That means that if I have $250 or greater in my cash drawer, the system's then going to prompt me to do a safe drop to get me back down to that $125 value. Now the prompt interval, this will be in minutes. Let's say that I set this to 5 minutes. This would mean that as soon as I hit that $250 value in my cash drawer, every 5 minutes I'm going to get a prompt to do a safe drop to get me back down to that $125 value. The max safe drop skips, let's say that I put 3 here. This would mean that the cashier, whenever they're getting prompted to do a safe drop, they can do a max number of skips 3 times. So I can skip it once, twice, a third time, but after that third time, I'm forced to do a safe drop. Whether I have customers in line or not, it's going to make me do that safe drop. Then you have your safe drop prompt. This is the setting that toggles this on or off. So I have this set to on. That means that I will start getting these safe drops based on these parameters I've just set. If I have that set to no, that means that I will not be prompting the cashier to do safe drops. There's the disable pop drawer on drops. If this is set to yes, this would mean that the button to pop the cash drawer on the safe drop prompt itself will not be present. I would have to use the cash till key. This next area will be the POS widget area. This would be those widgets on the left-hand side of the POS screen below the time. So whenever you're on your POS panel that has your buttons and where you scan items, there's going to be those little widgets. This would be what toggles those on or off. Your carton count widget, of course, would be doing the carton count, showing you the number of packs and cartons you have on that transaction. Your messages will show messages that were sent from corporate to the stores. Your customers widget will be the loyalty widget to show what loyalty customers tied to the transaction. Each of these options, you can also press the glyph, that widget, to dive into the options. So for example, customers, if I tap that, then that will show me the customer search option. If I've got a customer tied to the transaction, I can see what coupons they may have, their balances, edit their information, that type of thing. And then finally, there's the to-do widget. If this is set to true, then you'll have your to-do list. And anytime you have a to-do task that is sent from corporate to the stores, the control center, you'll see how many tasks are remaining to be done. Below this will be your pay in and payout default text. So whenever you press the pay in or payout button on the POS, it will prompt you to type in a description for that particular action. And if you have these values set in place, then you can tap where you would type in that description, and it will be populated by a drop-down. And this will then show you what you have programmed in here. So this would allow you to quickly select maybe a reoccurring event, a reoccurring type of pay in or payout to that particular value, saving the cashier time from having to actually type that information out. All right, below this, we're now getting into our miscellaneous POS settings. The disable weighted barcodes option, if this is set to true, this would mean that barcodes that start with the value 2 in those 12-digit barcodes will no longer pull the pricing information from the UPC itself. In the barcode world, there is some mathematical formula that, depending on what the number the UPC itself starts with, determines what that UPC type is. 5, for example, tells the point of sale it's a coupon. 4 is not used by anything. That's a totally custom UPC. 2 in the barcode world will be a weighted barcode, meaning that the retail price itself is pulled from the barcode value. This is mainly used in like grocery store environments. So if you're in any other type of environment where you don't want to pull your pricing from the barcode and it starts with 2, set that to true. The log off cashier after a sale, if that's set to true, what that will do is anytime a sale is fully tendered out, it's going to log the cashier off, and then before another transaction can start, the next cashier or that same cashier has to log back into the point of sale. Allow visual age verify. If this is set to yes, what that does is whenever you have age requirements on products that you sell, whenever you scan that product that has an age requirement on there, it's going to then bring up, of course, the date selector for that customer's birthday. This puts a button in the bottom right corner of that selector to where you can visually verify. So if they obviously look of age to purchase, you just press that button and it bypasses the age verification. Return to main screen after a sale. If this is toggled to yes, what this does is after you tender a sale, it carries you back to the main point of sale panel, ready for the next customer. Disable buy down promotions and price check. If this is set to yes, whenever you're doing a price check on an item, any kind of buy downs or promotions that would be on that item is going to be hidden from the cashier. The cashier will not see those particular values. Do not pop drawer for $0 sales. If this is set to yes, what this does is if the subtotal of a transaction is $0, then it will not pop the cash drawer open. So in the event of like an exchange, an even exchange where the subtotal is $0, there's no real reason for the cash drawer to open because there's no money being exchanged. So the cash drawer just will not pop. Returns use current discounts. If this is set to true and you are returning an item without a receipt, then if that item is on a system discount, it will then prompt and immediately apply that discount to the return. Prompt for price on return. If this is set to yes, whenever you do a return on an item, whether it be against a receipt or not against a receipt, it's going to give the cashier the option to change that return price. Prompt for out of stock item. If this is set to yes, whenever you scan an item and that item has a 0 quantity on hand for that location, it's going to prompt the cashier basically a message saying, are you sure you wish to sell this item? Because your quantity on hand is 0. Prompt for name when suspending sale. If this is set to yes, whenever you use the suspend sale action on the point of sale, it's going to prompt for a customer name, description, some kind of transaction identifier. This is pretty helpful whenever you have many suspended sales. When you're trying to resume one, you can have basically a description of each of those suspended sales, allowing you to quickly choose the correct one without actually having to open one up, see what's on the transaction, suspend it, rinse, repeat until you find the correct transaction you're trying to actually resume. Restrict the lotto sales tenders. If this is set to true, this will restrict your lottery sale tenders to cash only. Show min date age. If this is set to yes, in that top left corner, it's going to show the age requirements for preset values that you would set up here, which we're going to go over momentarily. This setting here, they show min, label, and age. This is quickly just at a glance for the cashier to see what the age requirement is to buy maybe a certain category of product, that birth date. Combined identical items. If this is set to yes, whenever you scan, let's say you have 5 of the same item, and you scan that item 5 times on the barcode scanner. What this will do is this will combine all of those into one line on the transaction times 5. So instead of 5 line items on the receipt, you're going to see 1 line item times 5. It saves receipt paper. Required description for on open department sales. If this is set to true, anytime you're doing an open department sale, as in not scanning an item to add a value to the transaction, it's going to require a description of that, basically reasoning why you're doing that and not scanning in the product itself. Log off after a number of minutes of inactivity. If this is set to yes, then if the register is idle for whatever that value would be, let's say we put in 5 here, then the POS is going to log that cashier off. Before any other action is completed, that cashier has to log back on, or some cashier has to log on. Tax manufacturer coupons, tax buydowns, and tax store coupons. Those are all handled the exact same way. If this is set to yes on any of those 3 items, then that would mean before a coupon is applied or before a buydown is applied, tax is applied to the retail price of that item. So let's just give a quick example here. We'll use a buydown as an example. Let's say you have a $10 item and a 10% tax rate and a $1 buydown. So $10 price, 10% tax rate, $1 buydown. If this is set to yes, that means that when tax is applied to this item, it's going to apply a $1 tax. It's applying tax before that buydown is actually applied. If this is set to no, then the buydown is going to apply before the tax rate is applied to the item, meaning that there's going to be a 90-cent tax applied to the item. $10 minus the $1 buydown, then the tax is applied. This is handled the exact same way for your coupons, so manufacturer coupons and store coupons. This visual age verify text, if that visual age verify setting is set to true, you'll see that gets displayed. This is where you can change the text of that button on the visual age verify on your age restriction products. Allow overtendering of store coupons. If this is set to yes, this allows you to pay for the item in full using a store coupon, even if the value of the coupon is higher than the subtotal of the transaction. Do not keep age for suspended sales. If this is set to yes, whenever you suspend a sale, if there is a age-restricted item on there that has been validated, it's going to forget that age was validated. So whenever you resume that transaction, it's going to bring the age verification window back up for you to scan the driver's license, visually verify, or punch in the customer's birth date. Do not show $0 kit items. If there is a kit item on the transaction that has a retail price of $0, then if you have this set to yes, then it's not going to show that in the transaction. These next three options, prompt for notes on no sales, cancels, and voids. If you have this set to yes on any of these, anytime you do that negative transaction, a no sale, a cancel, or a void, it's going to prompt for the cashier to type in a note. If you use the setup hyperlink here, this allows you to predefine some of those values, saving the cashier time from actually having to type that in. They can just choose from a dropdown. Price check show quantity on hand does exactly that. Whenever you're doing a price check, it will show the current quantity on hand of that item. Price check hide tax. If this is set to yes, it will hide tax that would be applied to that item. No, it would show the tax that would be applied to that item. Price check show cost, exactly that. If you have this set to yes, it will show the cost of that item, as well as the margin in that price check screen. Prompt for item on manufacturer coupon. If this is set to yes, which it should be if you're doing any kind of retail scan data incentive program, whenever you scan a manufacturer coupon, it's going to prompt which item that would be applied to. An example could be, say you have a Marlboro coupon and 3 Marlboro packs on an item. Whenever you scan that coupon, you need to apply that coupon to one of those 3 packs. That way on your scan data report, it'll show one item at a different price. There's a reasoning behind that. It's going to show the coupon that was applied. Subtract % discount after a system discount. If this is set to yes, it's an order of operations. So if you're doing a manual like percentage discount on an item in a transaction, it will do it on the discounted value if that item was in a system discount. In this scenario, this would mean that you would never have an item that would sell for a negative value. If you have this set to no, you could potentially have an item set to a negative value because it would do the percentage discount off first, then the system discount. Required driver's license validation. If this is set to yes, whenever you scan a driver's license, it's then going to prompt on the screen for the cashier to look at that license, basically comparing the name that's on the physical license to what the POS barcode that was read would show, as well as the date of birth, expiration date, that type of thing. Forced driver's license for loyalty lookup. If this is set to yes, the only way you can look up a loyalty customer is by scanning that driver's license, that unique identifier. Allow manager override on an expired license. If this is set to yes, then whenever you're scanning a license, if it's expired, this allows a manager employee to override that and allow the transaction to continue. Forced driver's license scan on age verified. If this is set to yes, this means that if you have an item or items that have an age restriction on the price book, whenever you're selling that item, you absolutely have to scan a driver's license. You can't get past selling that item without scanning a license. If this is set to no, you can prioritize a driver's license scan for age verification. So if I have this set to yes, whenever I scan an age required item in the point of sale, it's going to tell me to scan a driver's license. However, there's a button that I can press to then carry me to the normal choose and select the birth date option. This is a way to prioritize scanning that driver's license. Discount child when parent quantity sold. This would be really for items that have a parent-child purchase unit subunit relationship, and the parent is sold at a lower retail price than the child or subunit item. What this will do is, if set to true, whenever you scan the number of children that is equal to the parent value, for example, carton and pack, if I sell 10 packs, it will automatically discount those packs to equal the discounted price of that parent item, that carton item. Do not allow system discount on house accounts. Does exactly that. If you have a house account transaction, then that transaction is no longer able to use system discounts. Do not allow system discount with a temporary price change. If this is set to yes, then If that item that is scanned on the transaction has a temporary price change, no system discounts can be applied to it. These next three options have to do with an automatically Z register window. Basically, at the end of your shift, you're going to press that Register Z button. That will close the shift out, incrementing your Register Z counter by 1. And that previous shift now can be reconciled using the shift reconciliation feature. In some cases, cashiers could forget to press that Z button. The problem with that would be that that shift now can run over to the next day. So to prevent that from happening, you can set this Auto Z register window to yes, set your time range, so I could say like from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. And if the cashier forgets to Z their register out, then at 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. Up to midnight, it's going to automatically close that shift out. User return forms, if this is set to yes, then we're going to utilize the return feature, the return form feature in the point of sale, meaning that returns are going to be tied to customers. So you have to scan a driver's license, and then that return is going to be tied to that customer, allowing you to track customer returns, block specific customers from doing returns, that type of thing. Force Joule sell limits. If this is set to yes, then the Joule Racks program limitations for Joule products will be enabled on the point of sale without any kind of user intervention. Excise tax applications. This will be different than the excise taxes that are applied to invoices. This would be if you're applying excise taxes on the retail price of an item or the cost of an item. You would choose. Go to Shift Recon after performing a Register Z. By default, if this is set to not enabled, basically if you do a Register Z, then it doesn't do anything except close the shift out. If I have this set to go directly to Shift Recon, as soon as I register Z, it's going to carry me to my shift reconciliation screen for that particular shift. And then if I have it set for prompt user with selection, it's going to carry me to that option, that's window to where I can choose to do my shift reconciliation automatically. Set min label and age. This directly ties to this show min date age option over here that we went over a little bit ago. If I have this set to yes, then I can set these values here. I can set like tobacco, e-cigs, alcohol, and that minimum age required. That will then show the birth date on the POS screen that customer has to be to purchase those particular items. And finally, there's the last setting, allow sale of an item if the price is $0. If that is set to no, that means that any item that has the retail price of $0 cannot be sold through the POS. All right, next we're going to be looking at the receipt settings. This first area is your receipt header. This will be the information at the top of the receipt. And then there's the footer, which is the receipt information at the bottom of the receipt. You can type in whatever you'd like here, and that will then show on the receipt. However, there's a couple of available tags you can use. Notice I have these set on these particular top 3 fields. This will be great to use to differentiate store receipts. So if I have 20 different stores, of course, those are going to have 20 different phone numbers, addresses, that type of thing. I can use these tags, and that will automatically put in that information on the top of the receipt, saving me time from having to set that manually at each location. So below that, we have the option to print every receipt. If this is set to no, it does not print receipts. The only way to print receipts is to manually print that. If I have this set to true, it will print every receipt. Print receipt on no sale. If this is set to no on the print every receipt, then anytime I do a no sale action on the POS, that negative action, is going to print a receipt. Same with the cancel sale option. If I have this set to yes and the print every receipt set to no, anytime I do a cancel sale, that negative action on the point of sale is going to automatically print a receipt. The print you saved amount on receipt, if this is set to yes, any type of buy downs, discounts, manual discounts, whatever the case may be, the customer is going to see that option on the point of sale receipt that's printed. You'll see that at the very bottom of the receipt showing the customer how much they actually saved. Directly below that, there's the Print Receipt with Amount Saved option. This directly ties to the setting right above it, that print you saved amount on receipt. This will be used for if the Print Every Receipt option is set to no. If there's an item on a transaction that has a discount, or the cashier applies a discount to the transaction, it will then print those receipts. So any receipt, basically any transaction that does not have any kind of discounts on it, the receipt printer does not automatically print. But if there's a discount, it does print that. The print number of items does exactly that. It'll print the number of items, that numerical value, the number of items on the transaction on the bottom of the receipt. Print barcode at the bottom of the receipt. If this is set to yes, then it will print a barcode for that transaction identifier. That way, if the customer decides to do a return, the cashier just has to simply scan that barcode and it will start the return process. Print receipt logo. If this is set to yes, there's going to be another option where you can choose a receipt logo. Here's where you would choose a monochromed bitmap image, and that will then print at the very top of the receipt once that is saved. Print UPC number and receipt. Below the description on the receipt, it will print the UPC number. This will be good if you're doing any kind of returns or something where the barcode of the product is not visible. You can see that UPC number to type that in. Show ordering kit items. Any kind of kit items that would be on the receipt that is an ordering item would then show on that receipt. Otherwise, it will not show. Drawer must be closed after sale. If this is set to yes, whenever you tender a sale out, in order to start the next transaction, this has to be set to yes. Notice there's another option here. If this is set to yes, this drawer must be closed after sale override, then this allows you to override that option at the end of a transaction if the drawer is not closed. This can be used by a manager if the cash drawer has a malfunction or the system thinks it's open, but it's actually not. Show excise tax as a summary. This can be set to yes, and what this will do is on the bottom of the receipt, you'll see the excise taxes that were applied to that transaction, whether it be on the cost or the price. Extra feed before cut. If your receipt printer is cutting a bit too short, as in like, say for example, you have the receipt that's printed out and like a couple lines are cut off and it would appear at the top of the next receipt. If you have this set to yes, it will then feed an extra inch of paper through that receipt printer and then do the cut command. Enable Dvr Feed. If this is set to true, this will enable the Dvr Feed option. Number of credit card receipts. If this is set to any value other than 0, even if you have the Print Every Receipt option set to no, any type of credit card transaction is going to then start prompting and printing that number of receipts, whatever that value may be, 2, 3, or 1. And the number of columns will be the number of columns, the width that the printer can print on that receipt paper. By default, this is set to 40. If you notice your receipt printer is printing not wide enough and go into the next line, you can change that value. Okay, that covers the first part of the POS settings. Next week, we'll go over the rest of the settings in the POS. I hope everybody learned something today. Once again, if you want to join these webinars live, go to our website, goftx.com, choose the FTX Lifeline link, scroll down that page and look for the webinar hyperlink. That page will show you the upcoming webinars as well as our previous webinars. Thank you, and I hope you have a great weekend.